Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you are standing in a cold river. The water moves fast around your boots. Your fingers hurt from the cold. You push a wide, flat pan through the mud and small rocks at the bottom. Then you lift it slowly and tilt it just a little. And there, in the last thin line of water, something catches the light. Not silver, not white. A deep, warm, almost living yellow. You stop breathing. You don't know what that feeling is yet, but it is the same feeling that changed the world many, many times. Gold. We need to talk about gold, not because it is shiny, not because it costs a lot, but because the story of gold is really the story of us. What we want, what we fight for, what we risk, and what we lose. And here is the question that sits under all of it. Why does a soft, heavy metal, one you cannot eat, cannot drink, and cannot use to build a house, hold so much power over people? Why has it always, always done that? Let's go back. A long way back. 7,000 years ago, before anyone wrote anything down, a person somewhere in the Middle East picked up a small piece of gold from the ground. It was just sitting there, in the river gravel, in the light. They only picked it up because it was beautiful. That was enough. Gold is very soft for a metal. Softer than iron, softer than copper. You can beat it flat with a stone. You can stretch 1 single gram of gold into a wire 2 kilometers long. Think about that. 1 gram. 2 kilometers. That first person probably made something small. A ring, a bead, something to wear, not to use. And yet, in that small moment, something huge began. By 3000 BC, ancient Egypt had already built a gold-working industry, not just jewelry, a whole system, mining, melting, shaping, trading. Egyptian workers dug more than 100 gold mines in the eastern desert. One mine alone, called Fawakir, produced gold for over 1,000 years. The ancient Egyptians did not think gold was just worth a lot of money. They believed gold was the skin of the gods, not a symbol. They really believed it. And when scientists opened the burial room of the pharaoh Tutankhamun in 1922, they found his inner coffin made of solid gold, not painted, not decorated, solid. It weighed 110 kilograms, worth about $10 million today. But to the Egyptians, the value was never the money. The value was what it meant. But here is where the story gets hard. Rome needed gold to run its empire, and Rome had a very simple plan. Find it, take it, and use slaves to do the work. In the mines of Spain and North Africa, tens of thousands of enslaved people worked underground in tunnels so small they could not stand up. A Roman writer named Diodorus described it. He wrote that the workers had no rest, no light, no way out. Many of them died there. The gold went to Rome. It paid for armies. It paid for roads. The Romans made a coin called the solidus. It means solid, reliable, and that one coin was used as money across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East for 700 years. 700. No other currency in history lasted that long. This pattern, gold at the top, pain below, will repeat. It will repeat for a very long time. Can you imagine being Christopher Columbus in 1492, arriving on a Caribbean island for the first time? And your very first question to the people already living there is, where is the gold? Not what is this place? Not what do you eat? Where is the gold? The Spanish came after him. They found great empires, the Aztec and the Inca, full of art, full of buildings, full of history. And they melted it. All of it. Objects made by artists, whose names we will never know, gone forever into flat bars on ships going back to Europe. Here is the number. Between 1500 and 1650, Spain took about 181 tons of gold from the Americas. In today's money, that is roughly $370 billion. And here is the part almost no one talks about. The local people of those regions lost about 90% of their population in the 100 years after Europeans arrived. 90 out of every 100 people. The gold that paid for European churches and European wars came from that terrible loss, and the gold never went back. If you are learning English right now and sometimes wonder why history is important, this is why. The past is not finished. It is still here in the shape of things. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, this is a good moment. We tell these stories slowly because they need to be told slowly. Subscribe and stay with us. Now, a cold morning in January 1848, a builder named James Marshall is checking a water channel at a woodcutting factory in California. He sees something. He bends down. The thing in his hand is small and yellow, about the size of a pea. He does not shout. He just looks at it for a long time. Word got out, and the world moved. Within 2 years, 300,000 people arrived in California from 30 different countries. They came by ship, on foot, through deserts, over mountains. Some had never left their home village before. San Francisco grew from about 800 people to 35,000 in less than 2 years. That is not a city growing. That is a city appearing from nothing. And here's the thing. Most of them found nothing. The people who arrived first took the easy gold near the surface. Everyone who came after spent months or years digging in the cold for almost nothing. Some families sold everything. Their house, their animals, their savings, to make the trip, and came home with empty hands. But here is the interesting part. The people who sold things to the miners got rich. Food sellers, boot sellers, tent makers. A young man from Bavaria named Levi Strauss sold strong, heavy trousers that would not fall apart in the mines. You are probably wearing something with his name on it right now. The gold rush made very few miners rich, but it built California, gave the United States its Pacific Coast economy, and turned a quiet territory into a state in just 2 years. And gold rushes didn't stop there. In 1851, gold was found in Australia. 50,000 people arrived in 3 months. In 1886, gold was found in South Africa. That discovery led to a war, the Boer War, between the British and the local Dutch settlers, both of them fighting for control of the land. About 75,000 people died. Today, South Africa is still the source of about 30% of all the gold ever mined in human history. One country. 30% of everything. Ever. Good things hide in strange places. And so does danger. Which brings us to what gold actually is. And I promise this is more interesting than you expect. All the gold on the surface of the earth did not start here. It came from space. About 4 billion years ago, when the Earth was still young and hot, asteroids full of heavy metals crashed into it. Those asteroids brought gold close to the surface. Without them, all the gold would be locked deep in the center of the Earth, unreachable, forever. But the gold in those asteroids, where did it come from? It was made in space, in the crash of 2 dead stars. When 2 very old, very small, very heavy stars hit each other, the force is so great that it creates heavy metals and throws them out into the universe. Those tiny pieces travel for billions of years. Some of them became part of the cloud of dust that formed our sun and our planets. Earth was born, and the gold came with it. The gold in your phone right now, in the tiny parts that carry electricity, was made in the crash of two dead stars, billions of years before our sun existed. You are holding a piece of deep space history in your pocket. Now here is another number that might surprise you. All the gold ever mined in human history, every ring, every coin, every bar, every statue, every circuit board, would fill about 3.5 Olympic swimming pools. That is it. After thousands of years of digging, that is all we have found, 3.5 pools. And yet that amount of gold is worth about $13 trillion today. Trillion. With a T, and gold never disappears. It does not rust. It does not break down. A gold coin from ancient Rome still looks like a gold coin. The gold earring buried with an Egyptian woman 4,000 years ago is still gold. Scientists believe that almost every piece of gold ever found by humans is still somewhere on Earth, in some form. It just changes shape. It moves from a coin to a ring, to a circuit board, to a bar in a bank, the same atoms, moving through time. Before we reach the end, drop a comment. What surprised you most in this story? Tell us below, because here is the last image. All of it. The kings, the slaves, the soldiers, the miners in California, the people making your phone today. All of it goes back to that first cold river, that first tilt of the pan, that first small warm thing in a thin line of water. Today, the world mines about 3,300 tons of gold every year. China is the biggest producer, then Russia, then Australia. Central banks, the big government banks that control a country's money, hold about 35,000 tons of gold in their basements right now. The United States alone holds about 8,100 tons in a place called Fort Knox in Kentucky. A building with walls of granite, doors of steel, and guards around it every hour of every day. We still do what the pharaohs did. We lock the gold away. We protect it. We believe it means something. What changes is us. What we believe gold means. What we are ready to do to have it. What we are ready to do to each other. And maybe that is the real question. Not what is gold worth, but what are we worth? Who do we help? And who do we leave in the cold river, still turning the pan, still waiting for the light? You don't need gold to answer that. But you do need to look at the story and not look away. That is what we are here for.